Welcome to Google Analytics. This session, your website's only purpose. I'm Susan Harrell. I wanted to start by talking about why we have websites and then what we need to measure. Because everyone has a website, but sometimes we don't really think about the business reasons of why we have a website. Everybody has one, your competition has one. So what is it about your site that will bring people to you, help people find you, and drive customer engagement, and ultimately customer interaction and a purchase? Your website is a great place to present your brand and to explain your products and services and compare that to what your competitor has to offer. It's also a connect point for all the other social media and ongoing engagement points like blogs or podcasts that you might offer to provide information or value to your customers, because people will purchase from those who deliver the best value, however your customer defines value. It's also a place to provide your customers with resources, anything that they might need to use or invest more deeply in your product. So if it's instructional manuals, articles, a live chat function if they need customer assistance to provide better customer service. It's that accessible connect point that now, with the internet being in everybody's pocket on their phone, that they can reach you or connect with you anywhere, anytime. They're not just tied to their desk anymore. It's definitely a place for the transactional relationships of e-commerce or course registration, because people can buy a real or a virtual product. They can book an appointment or a service. They can access a course. They can download a course, or they can download other information for a fee through an e-commerce portal. And typically, e-commerce is what people think about when we talk about online conversions, but there are many steps in the conversion journey. If you have a product or service where you have a sales force that actually reaches out to make contact with your customer, then your website is a place for lead generation. And in fact, all of the things that we've talked about are forms of lead generation because they are bringing your viewer one step closer to being your buyer. So lead generation means it's a place to get contact information, to be able to reach out after that website visit. It's a place to give them information that you are worthy of their attention and their investment compared to your competitors. You get their information so you can reach back to them. Sometimes through having them sign up for a free download. It doesn't even have to be a call me back form. You can set up your website so that if people download a white paper, you get their contact information, and then you can reach back to them to engage them further along the selling journey. And then of course there's always the e-commerce component as well. Coming from a web design background and working for a web online marketing agency, one of the pitfalls that I've seen is that people think that their website, once it's made, it's out there online and they don't have to do anything with it anymore, that it's a set it and forget it kind of situation. But in actuality, your website requires regular care and feeding. It needs new content, it needs upgrades to functionality from time to time, and you also need to see how your visitor, how your website user is viewing your content, the path that they're taking through your site in order to deliver a better web experience. In addition, it's also your public face for many businesses. It's a sales and marketing tool that tells your story for you and gives you a place to highlight your features and benefits so you can update it almost immediately and have a change in that message going forward. So it's something that needs to be far more interactive and updated than it is for many businesses. Again, it's that connect point for your customers, and it comes back to lead generation. So in order to have effective lead generation, we need to measure what's happening on your website. The best way to do that is through Google Analytics. If you can engage your viewers and measure what they're doing and take them step by step closer to converting or spending money with you, then your website is a success. So watching each step along that journey for the aggregate cohort of your visitors gives you the wisdom of the crowd that tells you if your website is working for you or against you. Standard business theory says that at a minimum, 3 to 5% of your visitors to your website should become actual leads. That they should come in. Some of them will bounce out because you're not what they're looking for. Some of them will be interested, but they're nowhere near a decision. Some of them will move further down the journey to engage with you in some way, either with a form online or with a salesperson or an interactive chat person, or they'll download a resource. And finally, they will exchange money for goods or services and become a customer. So this is the conversion funnel, or the buying funnel, that we talk about often in online marketing. Let's define a lead so we make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. It's someone who visits your site and then takes action. They take one step closer from being a passive browser to an active consumer of whatever it is that you're selling. And those conversion steps can be big or small. They can be filling out a form, taking advantage of an offer, downloading a coupon, interacting with somebody in an online chat, signing up for an email newsletter, reaching out by phone or by email, or visiting your shop or your registration desk in person. It's that step of being a customer. And you can structure your website to do a better job for you in moving people along that journey. Making sure they have access to your social media contact points, making sure that your forms are not barriers to their being able to access whatever information or product that they're trying to purchase or access. I see so many forms that are incredibly complex and detailed, and they're somewhat off-putting, and that leads to what we call shopping cart abandonment, essentially, where people get freaked out along the way. But we need to direct people's journey. We need to give them signs along the road. And the same way that we have signs along our highway, we need to have signs and guidance on our website, calls to action, excuse me, to help people move along a predetermined journey with a few options or forks in the road to get them to the information that they need and the decision point we want them to take. So here's an example of a call to action from a Learn blog post where the download button is big and bold, and it's after a lot of really good information, but it gives you something of value. It tells you what you're going to get. A free tip sheet for 5 values of lifelong learning. It's presented information, and then it gives you a very clear step of what to do next. So we're looking for basically a conversion point of between 20 and 60%, depending on the asset that we're trying to manipulate on the website. So after somebody clicks on that button, then they go to a very simple landing page, very focused on exactly what the call to action wants to deliver. It explains exactly what they're going to get. There's pictures of some people there, so it's very engaging, and it's a very simple form. First name, last name, and email address, the assurance that it will be kept private. Institution is optional if people want to fill that in. Sometimes you can tell from their email address. Some people prefer to use a more anonymous email address. And then a button that doesn't just say click here, but it says get it now. So it's that extra motivation to take that step. So once you start collecting leads from your website, then you get to do some work about how to move those people towards being customers. So you can segment your leads based on the information that you have about how they've converted. So you can take a look then at everybody that's signed up for a webinar, everybody that's downloaded a white paper, everybody that's signed up for your email newsletter, and then start nurturing them through email marketing or retargeting marketing or many other online marketing channels in order to bring them closer to you and to keep you top of mind in their mind. And then ultimately you want to continue to ask for their business at strategic points along that journey, and it brings them closer to being sales. So here's just an example again of another Learn blog post with a call to action, taking people to a download page. Again, lots of good information, but a clear call to action with that big yellow button. Again, a very simple landing form. This time the actual form is on the left-hand side rather than the right. You can test that and see which one gets higher engagement over time. See how your audience reacts to what you're building in your site. Very simple, a little more information about the kind of information they're going to get from the download. Very simple form. And then once they've signed up and received that download, then they go into a drip marketing campaign. But this is all generated because they came to the website, we were able to track what they did, and then move them forward into an email marketing funnel. So they get 2 follow-up emails spaced out appropriately over time to try to move people towards further engagement. So they get the white paper download, and then they get an invitation to the Program Management Institute. And so they're always trying to bring that passive interaction of downloading a white paper one step closer to actually exchanging money for goods or services, in this case programming. And so the first email mentions the Program Management Institute. They get a follow-up on the Program Management Institute, and very hopefully be enrolling. So with that, they had 18 people convert just from that download of that white paper. So from a passive step into an active step, and that was about $18,000 as a result of being able to track that click and then move those people specifically into an email marketing funnel as well from their website. So when you look at your site, I want you to go through it and take a look at what you're tracking and to see if there are any connect points where you're looking at your visitors and looking at their behavior. Most likely, you may not be doing that, and that's why you're here. It's to learn some very basic ways through Google Analytics to take a look at how people are consuming the content of your site and then what you can do with that information. Here are the big questions when we look at our websites. We want to know how many people visit the site, how long they stay, what they're looking at, what the most effective pages are, where do people just drop off and disappear, leave our websites, and where do they move forward. And then what search terms are driving the most traffic, whether it's an outside search term from Google or it's an in-site search. If they're looking on your website for something, are we making it easy for them to find? And there is. So this is why we use Google Analytics. See you in the forums.